Hari Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Jaiva Tato Jayamudiraye. Jai Gurudev. Hari Om. Yeah, we have half an hour. Let us, it was like a beautiful knowledge bath. It's 1.5 hours.
Yeah, it was really enlightening, kind of, the points. I think it wouldn't, I probably had to read it one more time, but it was kind of clearer and clearer every time you read, right? We read it one time already.
Completely
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
It is good that we read this before. We read
Before,
it,
yeah.
especially the Upadana Karana, Nimitta Karana, the 5
Exactly. Yeah.
getting clearer
Yeah.
and clearer, isn't it?
Especially that Ishvara thing always confusing me, but now it a little bit clearer. That part I want to read it one more time because I myself probably had to do that, and then or we can come back and do the review one more time. But it is really that kind of helped a lot, and that particular paragraph is complex one.
And how he has deduced that
Sukarma and Sudharma, that was also even the point somebody was making yesterday. I didn't get their name, but it's clearly stated here about that. That was, and how you achieve that unity, like karma yoga. It's even better understanding than what we did in karma yoga chapter. So it's really summarizing. Bhagavan Krishna is really alluding to all the things and in a nice way. That's good. Yeah.
I think we also have to go back and revisit Dharma, because for me, I had this little bit of doubt there. Yatas pravrittir bhutanam ena sarvamidam tatam. So he is pervading everything. He's pervading the whole of creation. And in creation, you have the opposites. You have good and bad. So in effect, actually, he's there in dharma. He's also there in adharma. Because adharma is not different from him. There cannot be anything apart from, Ishvara. So that clarity, that there's that lingering doubt there.
But
So when
in terms of creation, supposed to be all of them, supposed to be whatever normal thing, right? And the adharmic part is coming from the whatever the gunas or their karma in the past, or that is what determined that part. But in creation, he doesn't really uh, give that thing. But one, if you think of, like, say, for snake or scorpion, right? That is given poison in their body, but is its own self protection. Like um, it it doesn't have to use it as long as it lives peacefully. But when it is some sense of danger to it, then it can apply that. Otherwise, I don't think the snake will go around, sticking everybody else, right? So in that sense, like in man or woman, really, as a human being, we also have our own protection sense. Like if somebody comes to hit you with the stick or something, obviously we're going to prevent it by showing our arm across or something, something we would do to protect ourselves. I mean, despite that, things may happen, but that sense, I mean, to me, like the creation by itself, um, there isn't any disparity. I think when you're, as at least when you're born, that part of it. But of course, there are all kinds of other things that may come up, with the discussion. What is this person born with this defect or that person, so that in that case, like you're saying, right, like we wonder why this happened to this person. um, that is always comes to your mind. But then as per Vedanta, it says is it probably from the previous karma or whatever that is.
Yeah, I thank you for your perspective. But here, the question is not why he is like that. The question is, he is pervading the whole of creation. He's pervading and there is the pairs of opposites are there as part of creation. Like the Devas, he's in the Devas, he's also in the Asuras because they are his creation.
Right.
So each one actually has equal importance. But we give importance to dharma. We say dharma and we say don't follow adharma. So my question there is, when he's pervading all of creation, of course I'm not denouncing the fact or putting down the fact that we have to follow dharma. We have to, of course, yes. But that little subtle doubt there is, actually at one level there is no difference between dharma and adharma, because he's pervading through everything.
He becomes non-doer, right? When he pervades also, he's not he's there, but then he's not doing anything. That is the sense about this Atma or like Brahman, right? I mean, so he's not in terms of, I mean, he pervades, but then he's not doing any of that action. I mean, that dharma and adharma part, it applies to um, the being, human being, but it doesn't really,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
We have,
I
we
get
have to
it what
read
you're
one,
saying, but then
we have to read
maybe we
one more
can
time.
pose it to Nana ji about this
Yeah,
question.
pose it to Nana. I had this doubt even before, and there was some seeming understanding. I think I'm not able to get the answer to that right now. But yeah,
It is so subtle, no? We have to go very, very deep into it. You have to read by sentence by sentence. It's not. I am appreciating how these comments have been made. We have to thank for Guruji or who has done that wonderfully.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. One thing, Brahmaraji, that of course the page got moved. When we read about that Stula, that
Stula Upadhi and
u-
the
the
Virat and
yeah,
Hiranyagarbha.
Virata, and then the subtle body, that one is called Hiranyagarbha. And what
Correct.
was the third one we read? That's a Brahman, or I didn't know what was it.
No, there was no third they mentioned. It was only
They
Stula
only
and
said two.
Upadhi. Yeah,
Okay. Only Sthula and subtle. Okay.
yeah.
Sukshma. Okay.
Few things I thought we should clarify with Nana was that
Mm.
paragraph on self-validation. We all had that doubt as to what that
Right. Mm-hmm.
self-validation. We'll ask him that tomorrow. And also this question about if he's pervading everything,
Mm-hmm.
then how do we distinguish? We know, of course, dharma is common sense. You don't want to
Mm.
step on, you don't want your anybody to step onto your toes. So you don't do that to others. But Yeah, I don't know. And he talks of how well he deduces that since Ishvara is the creation, is the creator, Brahma, along with his power, Maya, it becomes both the Nimitta Karana as well as the Upadana Karana. The
Right.
material as well as the efficient cause. The knowledge behind the creation as well as the material for the creation. Therefore, he pervades through in and through. He is not different from the creation. And
Right.
he's also the laws of creation.
The
Everything,
gravitation and all that.
gravitation,
Yeah.
fire, you put your hand in fire, whether it is in Alaska or Timbuktu, your hand will burn. So that law is universal.
Right. And also the same thing for the Vayu, water and all that, he mentioned the nature law is the same for everybody, everywhere, in the whole
Correct.
universe will be the same. And
So
then the
there's
way you worship also that mentioned, right? I mean, that was beautiful, in fact,
how you wake
we
up,
were,
no? That was really
yeah,
good. How do you invoke
that
the
we ask all that question as to what do you worship and what do I do, what do these things. I mean, they made it so simple, you couldn't be any simpler than that. But
Could
then
you
we have to
please
remember to
explain it?
do it. Yeah. Huh?
Could you please explain it?
That is what this Kayakave Kailasa I told, no? What you do is the worship.
Yeah, you're right, Surajji. That was the same thing they were saying in this,
So
time and again
wonderfully,
I
yes.
read that paragraph,
Yes.
it just that, it's really awakening you, and how when you do every single thing, that how much you have to be aware, and for you enjoy doing what you do, every small thing. That is all its worship. Then you are worshiping all day long. Like he said, when you go to the temple, you worship that 10 minutes or no, whatever, and you come
Ishvara?
out of it, you dissociate yourself and go on to your worldly activities. So you're only worshiping for that 10 minutes. Or the same thing when you do prayer at home and then you're done with it, and the entire day you go on about other things. But now this reading this paragraph makes you do that worship all day long, even when you're sleeping, probably.
Very true. Very
Yeah,
beautiful. It is
yeah.
basically living in the present moment. That is what
Sumaji, yeah. So do you? She wanted to explain it further. She
that
said,
thing was. The how do you invoke Ishvara? Swamiji gave the example. If Swamiji is dozing off or he's sleeping, how do you wake him up? So you touch his little finger, and it is not just the little finger that awakens, the whole body. Swamiji himself will wake up. So similarly, when it is to invoke the Lord, it is because he deduces that the Lord is nothing but dharma. Lord is the Ishvara is the law. He's the law giver. He's also duty. He had denounced that whatever you do becomes is the Lord. Your duty is the Lord, and that duty is whatever is ordained by your disposition, your birth, the varna and the guna that you have. That becomes your duty. That becomes your swabhavaja, your swadharma. So when you're doing that, that itself becomes worship. It's
And one more,
like holding his little finger and waking up the whole Lord. So you're invoking the Lord by your little act of duty. So this our whole series of life events is an event after event after event. So in every event, if you can invoke this attitude, then and
and
you do your duty as sorry Suresh, and you do your duty as with this attitude, then it is like invoking the Lord.
no, one
another,
more thing.
Thank you.
yeah, go ahead.
excuse me, just I want to bring that point that when you touch a finger, whole everything is invoked. So you can do worship in any form. You see, that's what.
That is also
It,
there.
it's clear,
That is,
means we are telling we are worshiping so many things. Means you can worship anything that way. It has, he clearly emphasizes it. Means it gives a very, very, very big, otherwise we'll say only Lakshmi, only this, only that. Any form you do, the whole God will come to you. That's what.
yeah, that is one perspective, is the form of deity. But at the same time, because you cannot not do karma, you cannot stop from doing action. So, and when you perform your enjoined action, the duty, there are two things that happen. One, you're doing it with that attitude that it's your duty and you're doing it. Second, when you're performing this duty, then the bind and the hold of raga dveshas loosens up. Because there you cannot, you're living choicelessly, because you have to do what you have to do. There is no choice in that. But whereas the other hand, if you make a choice, there is free will involved in any karma. So if you make a choice, oh, I like this, and therefore I will do it, then there is no aspect of duty coming in there. That does not become karma yoga. That does not become archana. You're not, tam abhyarcha is you're performing, you're worshipping the Lord in the performance of your duty, like getting out of the bind of raga and dvesha. And that gives you immense fulfillment and satisfaction. That itself is, you know, that is
Yeah.
worship.
Yeah, in this
Yes.
one particularly that you mentioned that you do your swadharma but not paradharma, right? So that whatever, even if you're not able to do your own duty well, that is far better than doing another person's work or duty. And also by doing this, what is called the subhava niyatam, that one according to your own nature or guna, that you do it, so that you don't incur any sin by doing that. That's what this 47 that sloka says. Trayan swadharmo vigunaha paradharma swanistita swabhava niyatam karma kurvan nanapti kilbisham. Sorry.
And
Turn
he
it
very
up.
clearly mentions in modern day, if you consider the varnashrama system in olden days, that was there. But here in modern day parlance, he says whatever you are supposed to do at a given time and situation, that becomes your enjoined duty. Therefore,
Sorry, I missed it. Can you say it again?
No. He was, see, in modern times, you cannot really go along with the varnashrama system, because there are it is, I mean, each one of us
It
is
is
doing,
true. Yeah.
we may be born as a brahmana, but we are doing things otherwise. So
Right.
whatever you're doing, you like what you're doing rather than do what you like. So that becomes performing your duty.
Yeah, that is also like the Swamiji mentioned in his text, right? Like it's a modern times, that one's own growth. That I had a question there now. Yeah, we choose to do for our one's own growth. He said that is okay to do, right? Like if you, I mean, that paragraph, I had a question on that one.
You mean, he says everything is self-centered. It is not selfless. There's no selfless service.
Yeah. That's also nice.
Very beautiful. If you are doing charity, whom are you doing charity to? In order for you to be able to do that, there are so many thousands of forces working to get you to be able to do that. And there has to be some recipient of your charity. So that is a great blessing. So it is again for your own inner growth. It is not for someone that you're doing. It is for your own sake. So it is all self-centered on the self. It's not selfish, but it's centered on the self.
I just wanted to add something.
Yeah, go ahead. Go on.
So what I could gather, I joined towards the end. So there are whole day there are series of events happening right in our day-to-day life. So my understanding of what Swamiji said in these verses that were being read. So every event is creating some impression, isn't it? Now, if we do it like the way he said, Swadharma, I think if you're doing your Swadharma, the impressions, because what remains in our system is the impression, not the event. Event you might forget, but the impression remains, right? If you're doing your Swadharma, generally you don't gather those impressions that are going to keep, like something that's binding you. In your Swadharma, you are more doing it such that it's wiping out all those vasanas and your ragas, dveshas, all that. But if you're doing something else, the impressions you gather will again incur more janma in future. You have to wipe out those impressions that you have gathered. So I think that's where it becomes important to do what we are doing. Yes, our day-to-day duties we have to do. We have our job. We have so many things. But if you're doing those in a way that you're not gathering, especially negative impressions or impressions that are not very conducive for your growth, then it is fine. But otherwise, if you're in your job, you're getting upset, you're getting frustrated, you're getting angry, then again, you have gathered some more impressions, which will all need further births to wipe out. And Swadharma, if you're doing, generally, you're not gathering that kind of impression.
Very beautifully put. Very nice.
So actually, also in that thing it mentioned, Swamiji mentioned that if you're doing that, whatever that karma is with that attitude and the dharma and gives you that satisfaction, or you enjoy doing it, that kind of completes that. That is the truth, and you are not incurring any sin by that. I do agree with you, like that if you're not frustrated and you don't enjoy it, you hate it and you hate yourself and things like that, that is not the type of karma. Then you incur more that karma pala is going to be a problem for us. So that that's what I understood. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, basically, really, sorry, you continue.
No, go ahead, Vijayji.
No, I was saying, yeah, it's all about it's the impressions, correct, which are going to be responsible for our punarjanma. So that's where I think the emphasis on Swadharma is not to look at what is my, whether I'm a Brahmana or I'm a Kshatriya. More than that, it is what you're doing. If you're doing it in a way that you're not adding to your impressions, then that's your Swadharma. Like if I'm an IT professional, okay, I don't know whether my inbuilt nature was to be a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or Vaishya. I don't know. But as an IT professional, when I do what I do, if I am not getting agitated, if I am not getting those impressions into my consciousness, then I am doing good. That's my Swadharma. That's it. That's how I see it. I don't know.
Yeah, in chapter 2 also Bhagavan says, no, Yajna Bhav. Whatever you do with that as a sacrifice to the divine order. And therefore, a attitudinal shift also occurs in you, even though you don't like that role or that position. But when you shift it to as a sacrifice that you're doing for God or Bhagavan, then definitely that antakarna shuddhi happens. No, and as Vijayji said,
there's a slight difference of one word that you used, you do not like, that should not come. Do not like should not be there. Then it will,
Okay.
that do not like should not be there. Yeah, you're doing it. It is, you have to like it. That's it. It's given by God. Now that's what I have to do. I do it. I do it wholeheartedly, right? That way, maybe I don't gain a lot of, I don't know, impression probably is the word I'm getting. That doesn't then bind us. It doesn't bind us.
Agreed. Yeah, but
Because if you don't
I
have that,
was,
if you have that slight even inclination or in your thought,
but
in
it
your mind,
is
I do not like it, it will generate some impressions which may not be very conducive for your growth. Though, yes, you are using
yes,
Yajna Bhav,
yes,
you are
yes.
using Ishwara Prasada Buddhi, all that, but still that thought of not liking it will become a binding thing for you.
Agreed. How do you get rid of that not liking that?
That is, can I comment it? You can get rid of that with love. When you start loving your work, you will not feel that you have done the work. You see, if you
That
don't
again
like
is
it,
No, Samaj's question is a practical question as to how do I create that love? How do I make it like it? So, Sumaji, what
And
I
to
would say is
prioritize,
first, yeah, I would first probably want to know what is it that I don't like about it, right? Go down to the root cause of what is it that you don't like about it. Maybe you yourself will get an answer as to what is it that you don't like about it. Then you address that root cause, probably you can come out of it. Maybe, but your question is very valid. I don't know. I somehow try to like what I don't like, but how to get over that, I am not too sure. I'm not too
that
sure.
is your attitude. Only the attitude. That's what it is.
I
You
just
have to
want
change the
give a
attitude.
small example here. This is the example that Swamiji had given with respect to doing what is to be done. He keeps mentioning this so many times. Do what is to be done. So supposing in your house, you have to clear up your shelf, the clutter in your shelf. That is there. That is something that you have to do. But for some reason, you keep putting it off. There is now this FIFA going on. So you have to do is to clear your clutter. But then you have another like that comes up, a raga towards the FIFA match. So in case you're able to have a say on your raga, say, no, I'm not going to watch the FIFA match. Instead, because I have to do what I have to do is to clear the shelf, clutter in my shelf, I'm going to do it. That will become your enjoined duty. And when you do it, the satisfaction that you get at the end of clearing up the shelf clutter is immeasurable. So that becomes your swadharma there. So paradharma becomes watching the FIFA match. When you watch the FIFA match, what are you? You're giving into your raga, you're giving into your likes and dislikes, you're giving into your like. And that, like Vijayji very beautifully said, will create a vasana impression in you. The like, it's one FIFA match, the next day it goes on and on. So what is happening to your swadharma there, your swakarma that you're supposed to do? The shelf remains cluttered. It does not get done.
Okay, all that is understood.
Right.
What I'm talking about here is a situation where you have to work with a boss whom you don't like. The boss is very toxic, but you like your job and you're doing it, but the whole environment is not very pleasant. So how do you like it?
Take it as prasada. You go through it.
That's
Because then
that's what
when
that is what
you
I was
try and
thinking.
avoid, yeah, when you avoid it, like how Rajima had mentioned once, she said people who are not good, who you think are not good to you, who you think are against you, they are actually there to take away your prarabdha karma. So you have to prostrate to them and feel grateful to them. It is your practical ground where you can use all your knowledge, no? See, moment to moment, if we can live our life, like in your situation that you've mentioned, a toxic environment, that in that situation, if you can live in the present moment, take life as every moment is inevitable, and use all these 5 knowledge points that we have, all the other 4 knowledge points. That what greater practical lab do you have to experience? Isn't it?
Unfortunately, lot of people left that department. Ultimately, he was left with just 1 or 2, he and 2 others. So I was just thinking, yes, we missed that opportunity for our cleansing and our growth and all that. But that boss just doesn't understand that he's so unreasonable.
He is
So how
there
long do you
planted
put
for
up?
some reason. He is like the postman. He is not there.
He's been planted there
He's just
for
been there for a reason. Nothing happens without a reason. Nothing.
absolutely, absolutely.
They
Look,
say, yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I had a similar situation. Okay, I used to work with a Pakistani boss. Okay, and when I joined that department, being an Indian, many Indians there told me, this was in the Middle East, in Dubai, told me that gone, your life is gone. He was known for that. But believe me, I worked for him for 12 years. 12 years I worked with him. And if you ask me who's my best boss, he's the best boss. A lot of things I learned, not only in my growth, but also in terms of work. Yes, he was a very tough guy, and maybe tougher with Indians a little bit more, but still, I don't know. It was probably my practices, Kriya, and all helped me a lot. And at one point, he told me also that, meaning this, what he was looking for and why people didn't get along very well with him was, he said, I want guys who will take away my headache. But everyone who used to work for him, he felt they gave him more headache. But with me, for some reason, he felt I took away his headache. This is just a perception, right? He wanted guys who just, once he says something, we should understand it, do it, and that's it. No headache for him. That was his expectation. Yeah,
That is
Okay,
what
I
you
got
are.
some answer. Thank you for that.
Means
Yeah,
we are
That
doing your
it
job
triggered
responsible.
something in me.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is our inner world which we have to strengthen. And the moment we strengthen the inner world, we'll start
Correct.
influencing the outer world. We'll start influencing.
Absolutely.
The boss became very different. He was very different with me. Till the time I worked there, he was my boss all throughout. Whereas everyone used to find opportunities to move out. But I didn't find anything, no wrong expectation. Yes, as a boss, he was tough. He wanted delivery, he wanted results. That's it. So I don't know. It's our own perception many times. And that once we change it.
Does he appreciate? Did he appreciate when you all delivered the result,
Yes,
or
yes,
was he
yes.
critical
He
even
did.
then?
At least in my case, I have no regrets. I have no complaints against him. I told you, 12 years
But
I
this
worked and I
boss
feel
doesn't appreciate anything. If you do
it will
well,
happen. It will
no
happen.
appreciation.
Sumaji, it will happen. It will happen with patience.
But
And
again,
with,
Sumaji, you wanting appreciation and not getting it, whatever it is, you'll have to take it, no, the consequence. That is what is karma yoga.
Yeah, I've come to that stage.
Yeah.
And what just now, what Vijayji said, no, that you have to take that headache off. So that's something triggered in me, that something I need to work on myself. Thank you.
And ultimately,
this
like what
One,
said,
sorry.
you are dealing with your mind. Ultimately, it is handling your mind. That is what Gurudev also says. Everything
Yes, yes.
is your mind. It is all your mind stuff that you have to take care of.
Or
But
can
why
I?
nobody's thinking of changing a job? Like, you might find a better job, right? Better job, better
If it is
boss.
in your
Why that?
prarabdha, you will find it.
Yeah, but we have to make an effort, right? Just by sitting, you may not get it. The effort has to be there. Why everybody's thinking that, oh, whatever job you are in, have we been in the same job? No, we have not been in same job for a certain time of time. Many people have been in one job, fine, but there is an option to change the job, right?
till such time as you are in the job, I can only give one example. Like when you are playing a game with your society children, it may be a game of cricket you play. Winning or losing is not on your mind, it hardly matters to you. The end result does not matter to you, isn't it? But if it's an India and Pakistan match, a cricket match being played in some stadium, then see how tempers fray and all that. And that equanimity in the mind, we have to lead our lives as if we are playing with small children in our society, and the end result does not matter to us. The significance of getting credit for the good work you do, you need to be appreciated, is again coming from an ego position. And that is something that you need to correct at your own level, that you need appreciation. It is your desire to get appreciation. And all desires lead to raga desha.
So beautiful.
Jai Gurudev.
Very nice. I like this
Yeah,
analogy
thank
of
you.
playing
Thank
a
you,
street
Prasad.
game versus India Pakistan. It was
See, like Gurudev has said that we nowadays take a game as a war and war as a game. And therefore all this consternation happen in our mind. Earlier times, he gave an example that when this martial art warriors in South India, you have a lot of martial art forms. And he said they would bow down to each other. So even ultimately, one of them is going to be the winner, holding an all India position or whatever. He actually bows down to the other person. He reveres the talent that the other person, the skill sets that the other person has. So the game is taken as a game and not as a war between two people.
very beautiful. Okay, before we close, we thought we'll finish at 7. It's 7:08 already. Dr. Renu has a question. Maya is also Ishwar. Please explain. Yeah, Maya is the creative potential of Brahman, of Brahma. Dr. Renu?
Yeah, the
Yes,
unmanifest.
yes, because I read it in the text and then in today's thing that I am the Maya also. Ishvara is the Maya. I thought he was devoid of Maya. So, hello?
If I'm not wrong, it's been said that Brahman with Maya is Ishvara. Am I
Correct.
right?
Correct. Yeah, that was what was mentioned there.
And one more thing I would like to ask, like when he was telling about the duties we perform, he mentioned only about the attitude. He never mentioned about the dharma. Like now today you mentioned about dharma and adharma. When we are choosing our duty or we are doing our duty, should we not be thinking about dharma part?
No, dharma, of course, comes in as part of your duty, right? You perform your duty in a dharmic manner, upholding all the laws of dharma. Like if you're doing your duty as against, therefore then you're not so worried about the remuneration, the power, appreciation, etc., that come with the duty. As against that, if you are for artha and kama, you go for pleasures and securities, you want to gain money, you want to gain power, then you will resort to all kinds of adharmic means. So dharma is included in the performance of your duty. It is understood that you do it in a dharmic way, isn't it? Dharma is part of it. It's part of the fabric. It is on which you do your duty. You cannot separate dharma from your duty. The karma you do and the dharma, they go hand in hand.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Yes. And but the thing, like whatever you are doing,
you like it, other than doing something which you like it. Even that sentence is little conflicting. And just now Vijayji was even saying, whatever you like, you are comfortable, your swadharma, you should be following. So is it not okay to change then the job you're doing, the duties you're doing, according to your swadharma, which goes on the dharmic way? Should we not choose that than what we are sulking and doing the duty?
Jai Gurudev, sorry to interrupt. I want to give little bit a very broader and very different perspective. Maybe it will be suitable or not, but way of means thinking के लिए कुछ तो भी material. See, up to very recently, just 50 years back, we could say, the actual interaction with the number of people and the means number of people on the planet, and now it is today the number of planet on the earth, and the interaction between the amongst the people to people was very, very restricted. If you see from a very broader picture, just 50 years back, even when in our childhood, how means in a year or in a 2 years or in 6 months time, really how many people actually we could interact one to each other, and how many impressions we could collect. But now the more the technology, the more accessible the things are, the more movements increased throughout the world. This moment in 24 hours, I can reach anywhere in the world. So more impressions. We are even just Gurudev has said this, just 3 घंटे का यदि तुम मूवी देखते हो तो तुम 3 लाइफ टाइम्स क्रिएट कर लेते हो अपने लिए. 3 लाइफ टाइम्स का impression. Can you imagine how faster the things are deteriorating from the perspective of spiritual angle, from this perspective of impressions? So just today, it is good that we are getting to interact with just अभी एक खोलो कोई भी ये media, you can chat with people. So, but every moment we don't realize that our memory chip is absorbing all these things and creating.
Oh my
50 साल पहले मौका ही नहीं मिलता था interact. तो क्या होता था, when the person dies, the kind of impression he had, the soul had very limited this thing. तो वही kind of families में वो लोग जन्म ले लेते थे. तो अपने आप से that dharma was.
Madhuri ji, you're sharing wonderful things. Can you just stick to English because not everyone understands Hindi?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So, so looking at this karma and dharma thing, so the kind of impressions the person was collecting was very much limited to his family, extended family, little bit friends in the village or whatever. The everything was very in a limited sphere. Movement was also limited, and then the number of interactions with the different people was very limited. So impressions were very limited. So the predominant impressions were kind that immediately the soul could take the life, a birth again in the same atmosphere. But now the khichdi, that all the mixture chow chow is there so much in the mind. So when we will be the kind of births we will be taking, we cannot say ki this is my family tradition. We don't know from where the souls are also, like, because this space freedom and the information collection freedom, the kind of impressions chow chow everything is creating more complications. Where I will be taking the next birth, it is more open, not very restricted to the family tree, the surroundings, and that is why dharma is becoming so complicated. My own children, we don't know in which direction they will go, and that is why that karma dharma thing is little bit becoming tougher to actually word by word implement in today's context. That's what I feel. As Vijayji said ki he is into IT, he loves his job. So previously 50-100 years back, it was little bit more easier that continuing the family tradition. If my father is goldsmith, the chances are there in our family, those kind of impression souls will only come back most of the time. So it became very easy to follow that dharma and karma and family tradition thing. But now the more these openings are there, the more chances of mixed impressions, and this karma dharma becomes little bit more tricky, I feel. Maybe you please elaborate if I'm going out of the context.
Can I comment on it? Can I comment
Such a
on it?
beautiful perspective, Madhuri. Very good. Thank you.
Can I comment on it?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah. We're extending
Because now we have so many things, as Madhuri, she had told. There, Swadharma will come. You see, you will be attracted where by your Swadharma only to whichever knowledge you are getting it. So, okay, you are getting so many knowledge, but the will of your, the Swadharma of your will come into play, and you will be attracted by that, and you will do that job very easily, and that Swadharma you have to find yourself. Now it is more good. There we were limited and we were doing that job only, and okay, that was there. But now we have very complete platter. Now, whatever we like it or whatever Swadharma I have, I will be attracted there. So there is a more chance of finding your Swadharma more now than the earlier also. I feel that way.
Yes, Sureshji, I totally agree with you.
I think for us, the solution when we have so many things to do is what China had mentioned, is to prioritize. So when you prioritize and then do what is uppermost, and the top of the list has to be moksha. Moksha should be top on the list, and then anything else. I think priority will be the key here. Yeah, I think we thought we'll finish at 7 o'clock. It's now 7:20 almost. So, and if anybody else has to share or ask any questions, please write them down. So tomorrow we can clarify before we start the Gita PDF. Very useful, very refreshing and thought-provoking Manana today. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. Dhanyavad.
I will post the two things before
Jai
we
Gurudev.
close. One is Nana is slightly under weather, so maybe we'll write down our questions. He may not be able to. I will ask him anyways. So maybe we'll not ask tomorrow. Maybe we'll give him some time to recover and then ask the questions. Second is I will. I've got the summary that one of our teachers has written about about Gurudev's commentary on Bhagavad Gita. So she sent it to me as a Word document. I will share it with all of you on the email. So please take a look at that. That is something I wanted to share. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you.